Hello and welcome to the second episode of Connect Euclid, a new show designed to communicate the progresses and challenges of the City of Euclid and Euclid City Schools. I'm Audrey Holtzman and I'm here with Mayor Bill Cervenik and Superintendent Keith Bell. Hello, gentlemen.
How you doing, Audrey?
Good, Audrey. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Happy spring.
Happy spring.
Thank you.
I see sunshine.
Well, we've had two, I think, nice days, really, is all we've had so far, but it's coming. It's coming.
It's coming. Those April showers bring May elections?
Yeah,
They do. And I think our residents would be really happy to know that the school district is not on the ballot in May, and we're really happy about that. I think that reflects our efforts to be efficient with our resources, so we're really happy about that. We are going to talk about some other things, but really happy about that.
That's awesome.
Right, and the city's not on the ballot either, but there is one very important issue. Besides the candidates for the various county and the statewide offices and the primary, there is an issue, a ballot issue called Issue 1. And that's a statewide issue that will allow the state to continue to sell bonds to fund infrastructure projects throughout the state, in the municipalities and in counties. It's very important in the city of Euclid. The program first began many years ago as Issue 2. And then I think about 10 years ago, it changed to Issue 1. We, the city of Euclid, for instance, this year have been the benefactors of almost $5 million of Issue 1 funding. Throughout its history, we're probably close to $50 million in assistance. It's a competitive program. We need to submit, there's a board in Cuyahoga County, we need to submit the projects we want and explain why it's important, how many people it will affect. And it's roadway projects, sewer projects, infrastructure projects. So it costs really nothing for the state of Ohio to do this other than the interest rate. And I certainly hope people do support it, because we're great benefactors of Issue 1.
And that impacts the schools too.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We're an older community. We get a lot of things under the ground that you don't see that aren't working quite right, and it's our responsibility to fix them. And once we fix what's underneath the ground, then we have new pavement, new curb, sidewalk, and all that as well, and it benefits all the residents of the city.
Absolutely. We had a lot of snow this year, and a lot of snow days, 7 to be exact.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Bell, what happens with that? Are we extending school?
Well, just to let you know, it's probably the most popular time for me at school with students, because when they hear that phone call, they all love me. So it has been a really difficult winter for all of us, and our teachers have done really well to make it out and to continue to maintain our instructional efforts to ensure that our kids are getting what they need. But we do have to make some adjustments. And one of the adjustments that we're going to be making this year is that we will bump the end of the school year back by 2 days. So what that means is the official last day for school should have been June 5th. And now it will be for students June 9th, which is Monday, June 9th. And so we're just bumping everything up 2 days. We had conversation regarding some other alternatives that we could have put in place, but we felt like the best option for us at this late date was to go ahead and just go and move our school day back by 2 days. So we've sent information out to parents to let them know to expect their children to be in school an extra 2 days. We've got things planned as we normally would, but that's the adjustment that we'll make. So hopefully, between now and the end of the school year, we don't have any more snow, and we don't have to make any more adjustments. So you never know with Cleveland weather. So we're just keeping our fingers crossed. But that's the current plan. And everyone, all of our stakeholders have been communicated to. Our staff have made the necessary adjustments, and we'll move forward.
So June 9th, we'll close the doors of school.
Yes.
When you said April showers bring what, I almost wanted to say May snow showers. This winter's been bad enough that you never know. And we don't want any more snow, because we are virtually out of salt in the city of Euclid. For the first time in many, many years, we ran our budget to its maximum. And we will need a budget amendment because, as you well know, October, November, December, there's always a chance of snow. So we have to have enough budget amendments so we have some salt on standby at the beginning of winter next year. But it's a tough winter. Overtime budgets were stretched to the max. had some equipment damage. You know, there's a lot more than just plowing the snow. That's very tough on all of our equipment. So we had a long winter as well, but the crews handled it very well. I got more, for the first time I think in a long time, we actually got more compliments from residents saying you're doing a good job on the snow plowing than complaints, and that was a good thing. And the guys worked hard, they're very organized, they know what they need to do, and they go out and do it.
And I'd also like to just kind of add to, I want to thank our parents and all of our caregivers for getting our kids to school during some very, as the mayor described, very, very difficult times. I know there were days where we could have gone either way, and it's, as we talked about, and I think in our first show, the progressions that you go through in order to make that decision about closing school. And I know it's inconvenient, and there are times when we probably could have, based off of how things fall with the weather. So I do appreciate the adjustments that our residents and our caregivers made to make sure the kids got to school safely. I know it was tough, and it was tough walking and all of that. So I just want to acknowledge that and just let everyone know how much I really appreciate them getting kids to school, because we had pretty good attendance, even during some very, very cold days and very, very rough days as far as snow and all of that. So I do appreciate the efforts.
Keith, does the extra days, excuse me, extending school have any real significant effect on your budget?
It doesn't, only in the fact, it does and it doesn't. It doesn't,
excuse me.
It doesn't in the fact that if we, as we make up the 2 days, all of our employees were compensated for the days that we didn't have school. So those 2 days that we are making up aren't additional compensation days for us.
Okay.
So there isn't anything there that we have to make the adjustment on. However, you do have the continuation of some things that would occur normally at the end of school that you have to bump back a little bit, and we may have to make some adjustments down the road.
Okay.
But overall, that's minimal, and
Okay,
it's
good.
more or less just trying to make sure that we complete the school year and do what we need to do to move on. So
All right.
there is some, but not a whole lot.
So May also brings testing.
Testing.
Yes, it does.
Testing, those OAA tests.
Yeah.
The Ohio Achievement
Assessment.
Assessment.
Yes, the Ohio Achievement Assessment is one of the indicators that we use to measure our student performance. The high school students have already taken the Ohio graduation test, and they take that early simply because they need to get that back so we can look at graduation and give them an opportunity to retake if they need to. So that's already been done. We will be testing elementary and middle school students coming up here in early May, and so their students are gearing up for that. And that assessment is going to look at various content levels with an emphasis on math and reading. And you know, one of the things that I know it was a question from many parents may be wondering, how do you support your student? How do you help students with the Ohio Achievement Assessment? There are a number of things I think parents can do. One is, I think, really making sure that they get enough sleep, that they eat right, that they go to bed on time. We limit the amount of social media and television and all of the distractors that could take them away from focusing on the test the way they need to. So I think that's one of the things that parents can do. I think the second thing that's really important is that the parents understand and support what the teachers are doing in the classroom. I think the tendency would be to, as students bring information home, there are opportunities for parents to be able to help with some of that work, but they learn strategies in school that they get comfortable with. And so what we want to do is to make sure they're consistent and don't have to think about things in a different way when they actually take the assessment. So that's another way. And I think the third way is there is a link on the Ohio Department of Education website that gives parents an opportunity to actually download sample tests, so they can actually see what those tests look like, and we can get that information to parents. All of the building principals have that information, and they can actually look at the tests. They can actually have their student go through the test. It gives them the answers to the questions, so parents can actually see that, they can work through it, but it gets them to put students in a situation where they can actually practice, and parents can actually supervise that, and really, through the support of the teachers and the administrators in the building, be able to have a concerted effort of being able to help those students to be successful. So I think those are really three easy ways that parents can help students. And if they find that there are other things that, if there's test anxiety, some of those kinds of things, just talk to your building administrator. We all want our kids to be successful, so we'll do whatever we need to do to try to make sure that they have what they need to be successful. But it is a stressful time, not only for the students, but also for the teachers, because they have worked very, very hard to make sure that students have what they need. They've worked around, as I just described, snow days and inconveniences and all of those kinds of things to make sure that students have what they need. And they're really excited about the opportunity for students to really show what they've learned throughout the year. And as I've said, our people have worked extremely hard to make sure that they have what they need. So those are ways to help. It's one of those things that we will do our best at. We'll get the results back, and then from that we'll be able to, it'll drive our direction and how we will then change, adjust, improve instruction moving forward.
Has there, this new testing, the OAAs, has it caused any type of adjustment as to the programming and the curriculum in the schools?
Yeah, that's a great question, Mayor, because it has, but the problem, or not the problem, but the concern is the fact that we're now moving to the park assessments, which are the Common Core assessments that are administered through PARC, which is the consortium that actually filters and runs that assessment through. And so what we're in that period where you have the OAA that we are currently under, but we're also trying to prepare for Common Core readiness assessments, next generation assessments that are at a higher level. So while we have students at one end and teachers and administrators at one end really trying to get students to understand and master the current assessment, we have to get ready also for the future assessment. So you've got those two things happening at the same time, which makes it a little bit tough because you have to focus on two different levels of assessment. And while there has been conversation about delaying the next generation assessment, that hasn't been etched in stone yet. So we're really just focusing on what we have in front of us, making sure that we take care of that. But it has caused some adjustments in making sure that we're ready for what we have, but we also have to get out in front of what we're going to deal with in the future.
And this year is the first year that third graders are going to be held to the third grade guarantee standard. So they have to have a 392 on their Ohio Achievement Assessment. How does that impact Euclid students?
Well, it impacts Euclid students in the fact that what we're going to do is really try to target where the gaps are in reading and really make sure that we are on point and out front. I think the assessment from a positive standpoint puts us in a position to be proactive as opposed to being reactive. It'll let us know where we have current gaps, but there are parameters that we have to work around. One of the parameters that we work around is, and I like this, is the fact that whatever we do or whatever we have done throughout the year that hasn't been successful cannot be used as an intervention possibility. So we have to be innovative in finding different ways of getting students to be able to understand reading, and I think that we should be doing that. So, but we've got to think differently, because if what we're doing hasn't worked, we have to find different ways of being able to do that. So that's caused our curriculum department to really be very creative in how we are looking at what we will be doing next year to support students. The other issue that you have is that you have students that may only be have that gap in reading where their other content areas are very successful. So you don't want to be punitive for everything when it's really just one component that we're really dealing with. So what we've done is we've devised a plan to be able to promote students in those other academic areas while still giving them support in the third grade reading gap areas and making sure that they're getting what they need. We do that in combination with students that are already there. So we've already planned. We have the necessary personnel to be able to do what we need to do on an intervention level to be able to help those students. But it does become difficult because what you want to do is to make sure that all students get what they need. At the same time, you want to make sure you've got varying levels of gap between different students, and we want to make sure we address all of it. So we've got our summer program to help students and to help parents. And we've also got a plan for the fall to be able to make sure that students are able to get what they need to read. Because if they can't master the reading, then it makes it difficult for them to master the math, the science. Right. I mean, it's very, very difficult for them to be able to do that. And what we want to do is to make sure that we are on top of that. The other thing that we've done is in our Early Learning Center, really looking at how we can address any gaps at an earlier level. So we don't have to wait to third grade to figure out that kids can't read. And we don't, but that's where the measurement occurs. So what we want to try to do is to make sure that as kids come in, we've adjusted our kindergarten, our crawl, which is kindergarten readiness assessment for literacy. Those kinds of assessments, Get It, Got It, Go, which is an assessment for preschool to determine their alliteration and literacy and that type of thing, so that we understand what kinds of supports we can put in place for students, so that by the time they get to kindergarten, they're where they need to be, and by the time they get to third grade, they're where they need to be. The current issue that we have is we have a number of students that come in behind, and so trying to get them to catch up to be ready by third grade has been a challenge, but we're doing everything we can to ensure that happens, and being as proactive as we possibly can, and with the support of parents and staff working together. It's been, we think we've got a solid plan, and we think we've got a plan there to address those needs. So not only is it OAA, it's a bunch of other assessments.
And you hit it right. It's you've got the staff, you've got the teachers, you've got the administration, but you got to have the parents too. Yep. And you're right. Yep. And I know we're doing everything we can to draw those parents in to be part of their child's education.
One other thing I just want to add with that, and you just helped me to remember that, Mayor, too, is the fact that we've also got the library on board.
Yeah.
And they are working with us not only through the ongoing literacy after school, but they're also partnering with us over the summer for some reading instruction and being able to support students. So it's really all hands on deck. I mean, it's not just a school issue, it's a community issue, because as I met with Cleveland Clinic on some other partnerships that we're looking at, and I talked to them, they talked about, in order for individuals to understand their health, they have to understand how to read, and they have to understand how to interpret the information, and so it's really becomes a community issue. So we want to make sure our students can read, not only for us at Euclid City Schools, but really for the community.
Good.
We had a question. We had reached out to our Facebook friends, and we asked you if you could talk to the mayor and the superintendent, what would you ask them? And we had a lady ask us when the Euclid schools will be implementing an online gradebook.
That is a great question, and that implementation is scheduled to go out beginning next fall. Excellent. And what that will entail is it'll allow our parents to be able to access, it's something that I've been preaching since I got here, to allow our parents to access the student information. They'll be able to see where their students are online. They'll be able to not have to wait for a parent-teacher conference to get updated information. We're currently in the process of working with how often we want to make sure that grade book is updated, so parents will be able to know when grades are posted and all of that, and as we work through that. But that whole process has been through the hard work of not only the teacher association but the administrator. We're all working together to do what's best for our students and to make sure our parents have that information.
So I'm a parent. I get on the online gradebook and I see that my child's having trouble. Does that give me the opportunity to make a call, sit with the instructor, the teacher, and say, hey, what can I do as a parent? I see my kid's not doing well in this. It opens up that opportunity rather than, like you say, waiting 2 months, 2 weeks, whatever it is. That's good.
Yeah, I think the other thing, Mayor, that it does, and you phrased it perfectly, the hope is that that's exactly what parents will do. They'll take a look at that, they'll be able to see the information. But the other thing that I think is really important is that not only will they see the information, what parents need is really some solid data to be able to say when they go into a meeting with a teacher, here's my information, talk to me about this, help me understand this. And your question about how can I as a parent help is the exact question we want. We want to be able to put parents in touch with resources to be able to help them with their students and help them with how to improve. So what that does is it really opens us up to full transparency, which is where we need to be. There isn't anything about students' achievement that we need to be hiding. We want to make sure it's all out there, and it hasn't been intentional, but just through our processes, we haven't been able to make that as clean as we'd like it. This will give us an opportunity to do that.
That's good.
That same lady also asked us what happened to the fireworks.
Keith, you want to answer that question?
I don't.
The fireworks, probably about 6-7 years ago, 2008, 2009. we had the extreme economic downturn and we probably had 30 employees that needed to be laid off, and we cut a lot of services back, and it just made no sense at that point in time to continue a fireworks show that, when all said and done, the fireworks themselves would cost close to $40,000.
Wow.
But between some of the amenities that had to go with that, with the outside portalets, fire, the police overtime and all that, we can clean up. We came very close to $80,000 to $90,000, and it just no longer made sense to do that. Having been born and raised in Euclid and had been to every fireworks show that we ever had, it was not an easy decision to make. And we're getting up to that time of year where people are going to say, "Hey, Mayor, you're going to do the fireworks this year?" And unfortunately, I have to say the answer is no. We've got a tremendous fireworks display at Edgewater. We have tremendous fireworks display with the Cleveland Orchestra every year in downtown Cleveland. And I think we have to take advantage of those opportunities that we have.
And we have a nice fireworks display at homecoming, right, Mr. Bell?
We do. Yes, we do.
So we should invite people to come to our homecoming
There you
game
go.
next October.
Okay, but it's in my watch. I have no intentions of putting those back on. It's just something that was great while it lasted, but and we're not the only community. Many other communities are doing the same. Shaker Heights, Lakewood, I think Lakewood still has theirs. But it's just something that if you need to make sacrifices, that's it, and that's how it is. It hurts though. There's times, in the back of my mind, I'll always remember I think I've done a lot of good things as mayor, but in the back of my mind, you're the mayor that eliminated fireworks, but I did it for the right reasons, and so.
Absolutely. Well, we are almost out of time, but there's some extremely good news that the Euclid schools have just received that will impact the 2015-16 school year. Do you want to share that, Mr. Bell?
I do. We are in the process, or we have been approved and have accepted an invitation to enter a new athletic league. And that will take place in the fall of 2015, I believe. And we are very, very happy with our association. And what we're trying to do is to really upgrade our athletic opportunities for students. We want them to raise their level of performance, and we want them to really achieve at a higher level. And so they're in a tough league with Mentor and Shaker Heights, and I don't have all of the schools in front of me.
I think it's Mentor,
Shaker
Shaker Heights,
Heights,
Elyria, Solon, Brunswick, Lorraine.
Lorraine is in there, and Medina, I believe.
Yes.
And so those schools, those are very, very good schools. I think what it's going to do is to help our students really understand a much higher level of performance, and I think they'll embrace that. I think our students are certainly capable of competing with any of those schools. There's some work that they're going to have to do, but I think they can get that done, and so we're really happy to be admitted into that league. And I'd like to just really say thank you to a couple of students that really did a great job. Savez Harper and Samantha Lizzie were a part of that team of adults that went out to really market Euclid City Schools, but not only the city schools, but the community, the entire Euclid community. And they did a great job because they had to show that committee how committed we were as a community. They had to show how they were able to, how we would be able to compete in that environment, and why we belong. And they did a great job of that. I think sometimes when you have adults at the table, it's a different conversation. You put students at the table, they give it with the passion and the emotion and all of that. And they really sold that committee on our level of commitment and why this is a good move. So really happy about that, and I think that the community will be happy with the competition that they're going to be seeing, and I think the student athletes will be really excited about the opportunities in front of them and the opportunity for some extended exposure.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And while we raise the athletic bar, we're also raising the academic bar.
Absolutely. A great point, because what this also does for us is allow us to then partner with these schools academically in some of the academic competitions. And so when you look at the academic achievement and some of the things that are occurring academically at these schools, I'm really excited about partnering there and being able to bring our students together and be able to work with other students in a different way, and being able to really up the ante academically. So it's not only athletics, but it's also academics. And the other piece of this, so people might be wondering, well, you're looking at a new league, what's behind that? There has been some ascension from our current league, and as teams leave, we can stay where we are, but as we look at the future, if those teams leave, it really dilutes our current situation, and what we want to do is, again, be proactive, not wait for teams to leave. We know Warrensville was leaving. There's some other schools that had talked about leaving, Warren Harding, some of the other schools. So we were looking for the best opportunity and wanted to make sure we could get out in front of that, and this opportunity came. As I said, our people presented well, and we're just happy to have the opportunity.
You know, I know from experience, my daughter played basketball both on the high school and the college level, and it really, the athletics is one, just a small part of that participation. It really fosters a real drive to achieve academically. You have, coaches have study tables. There's certain qualifications academically you have to reach. You're not going to participate in sports. And so many times I think that, and my daughter was a pretty good student, so, because if she watches this, Dad, she was a good student. But those kids that maybe just need that extra little push to excel in school, and they love the athletic part of it, that's what just gets them over there and say, okay, now I understand, and they become very well-balanced, well-rounded individuals. So there's a lot more to athletics than just winning a game. It's a whole lifetime experience, so I'm looking forward to it.
I've always said, Mr. Mayor, you make a great point. I've always said that athletics is the laboratory for classroom. You're able to take the theoretical that you learn in a classroom, and you apply it. You can apply it athletically. You learn about how to work with people. Then you have to work with people in an actual lab. You learn about teamwork and all of that. Then you actually have to apply it. You have to problem solve. There's all kinds of 21st century skills that you take from a classroom and actually have to apply it in athletics. So I just think it's the natural laboratory to be able to apply the things that you learn in the classroom, and the two of them together make for a well-rounded student.
You got it.
Well,
You asked about May. May also brings Memorial Day.
Memorial Day.
The last Monday in May, I believe it's May 26th this year, and we have our Memorial Day parade. I know the schools participate in it, and the marching band's in there, and the administration and school board's there. It's a great day in the city of Euclid. So.
It's very best. And the East 200th Street
Stroll that's coming up.
Euclid schools have a special
that same weekend.
Yes, that's May 31st from 10 to 2.
Okay, that's the following weekend.
Yep,
That's right.
yep,
Yeah, we're
right
late
after.
this year.
But you got to guarantee on Memorial Day there's no snow.
Well, I always tease people. I say we've never had a postponement of the Memorial Day parade.
You better knock on wood.
So, well, I'll knock on wood, but I think the good Lord gives, I can't control the weather too often,
snow.
but I think the good Lord always gives the mayor of Euclid that little, you got till noon to get your parade through. It's rained at 10 after 12 a few times, but we've always got the parade done. But it's a great community day.
Very
So,
That's awesome.
we
Well, we look
enjoy it.
forward to Memorial Day,
fun.
the
Yes,
parade, and the
yes.
stroll, and all the fun summer activities to come.
Absolutely.
And, this is our second edition of the show, and people watch it on channel 20. If they have an old television set, they are going to have to make some adjustments. They're either going to have to buy a newer TV set that has the HD built into it, or they're going to have to get a box from Time Warner. These community stations like 20 and 22 are no longer going to be able to be received without a box. The box from Time Warner will cost $1.50 a month, I think, in order to receive the transmission. As I said at the council meeting the other night, it's Mother's Day and Father's Day coming up. If parents have an older TV, maybe you want to buy them one of these new ones with the built-in mechanisms in them. If not, you're going to need the box from Time Warner, because we certainly want everybody to watch our community television so they know what's going on in the schools and the city.
Absolutely, and that goes into effect on May 6th.
Yes, which is right around the corner.
So if you would like to order your adapter online, you can visit twc.com/digital adapter, or you can call 1-855-286-1736 to speak to a Time Warner customer care representative. That about wraps up our time, gentlemen. Thank you
right.
so much for sitting down with me.
Our pleasure.
Mayor Cervenik, Mr. Bell, it's been a pleasure. And thank you again for watching the second episode of Connect Euclid. Feel free to email me at aholtzman@euclidschools.org with any questions you would like to ask the mayor and the superintendent. And we look forward to seeing you back next time. Have a great day.